What if I told you that the bike that you, or at least I, took so long to learn to ride was actually directly related to a volcano eruption in Indonesia? I get it, that sounds crazy, but it isn't. How did it happen then? Well, first, let's go back in time a bit. Even though the wheel has existed for over 5,000 years, and it was about 3 centuries until it was used for transport, it took a long time for the bicycle to come around. It wasn't one of those inventions that we've been using for millennia, like sewing needles or boats. It was only in the 1800s that people began to theorize a human-propelled transport machine. Now, at the time, people had horses, and lots of them, so much so that streets would be filled with their manure. Stinky, but a fair price to pay for one of the only fast transport options at the time. It is estimated that in the year 1800 there were upwards of 2 million horses only in France, let alone the rest of Europe and the world. And that horse industry seemed to be growing fast. Many people were just getting their first horses and some needed a second for the family. It wasn't long though until something devastating happened. I promise that this will all make sense in a second. The video is about bikes, just hang there for a minute because we have a bit of history to cover. In 1815, on the complete opposite side of the world, in the Indonesian island of Sumbawa, a big volcano known as Tambora suddenly erupted. It wasn't a small or relatively big eruption, it was the biggest in recorded human history. Not only did its peak height drop from 4,300 meters to less than 3,000, it put so much into the air that it changed the world's climate at the time. And every place you went, there was a layer of dry fog that wouldn't be dispersed covering it. Because of it, temperatures dropped anywhere from 0.4 to 0.7 degrees Celsius, and 1816 was known in the northern hemisphere as the year without a summer. In June, in the middle of the supposed summer, there was even snow in New York, and in Vermont, the snow covers measured almost half a meter in depth. This lasted for about 3 months, and even then, the problem wasn't over. 1816 was the second coldest year for the countries in the north since 1400, and the 1810s are the coldest decade we've ever recorded, all because of the sheer size of the eruption in Indonesia. That was a massive blow for farmers at the time. It killed almost all crops they had, and alongside the cold, wars also negatively impacted people's access to food, making it so they couldn't have enough food to feed themselves and their animals. Now, I bet you can see where this is going. Without their horses, the people used to them were scrambling for new ideas on how to get around without getting tired. They didn't have animals to go off of, so something else was needed. That's when Karl von Drais, a German inventor, came up with the brilliant idea of using wheels powered by human strength for movement. And with that in mind, he brought the first bike to the world, called the running machine. It was a very early bike though. It didn't even have pedals, so you had to push yourself off of the ground to get the wheels turning. But it was a bike nonetheless. His invention seemed to work. On his first ride in public, he covered over 14 kilometers in about an hour, way faster than any human could ever walk. It was fast, maybe even too fast, because it wasn't long until it was banned in many cities around Europe and even North America. By the way, it originally had no brakes, so if you want to pretend that you're riding the running machine, good luck keeping your shoe soles from wearing out. The so-called running machine isn't necessarily the best bike of all time. It was pretty clumsy and hard to control, but its story is fascinating and it inspired humanity. Nowadays, you can't go in a big street for 5 minutes without spotting cyclists. Not only is the bike an amazing way to get around, it's also great if you want a healthy life. And it's also fun. Like, come on, isn't going out with friends on bikes one of the most fun things you could do in your childhood? Now, whenever you get on a bike again, remember that you were front-seated in the invention directly caused by an Indonesian volcano centuries ago. If you think that this video was fun and interesting to watch, consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video. It takes a long time to research, record, and edit all of this for YouTube, and it really helps if you show your support. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!